Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been following our journey, you've navigated the entire path to becoming a true wealth architect. You've defined your vision, built your financial engine, conquered the mental dragons of fear and greed, and mastered your metrics. You're no longer just reactive, you're in control. But here's the thing, what happens when you hit that North Star? What now? It's a strange phenomenon. Many people, when they finally achieve their ultimate financial goal, feel a weird emptiness. The pursuit itself was often the purpose. So, if money is no longer a problem, what's your new problem? Well, the final act isn't about more wealth. It's about transcending mere money and focusing on the ultimate return on investment, impact, and legacy. You see, financial freedom is just the starting line. True wealth grants you 3 higher forms of freedom that completely transform your life. First up, the freedom of time. We call this becoming a time billionaire. This is where you truly control every single minute of your day. The goal? To spend a full 80% of your time on activities that genuinely align with your purpose metric? That core reason we talked about in episode 1. If you're financially free but still spending your days on things you absolutely dread, you're not truly free. You're still enslaved. Your schedule should be a living reflection of your deepest values. Next, we have the freedom of relationship, your focused circle. Wealth empowers you to consciously choose your tribe. You can finally eliminate those toxic, draining relationships and dedicate your precious energy to people who truly lift you up. Mentors, collaborators, your family, true friends. This deliberate focus on high-quality connections doesn't just improve your happiness, it exponentially fuels your continued growth. And finally, the freedom of thought, entering that creative state. When the relentless stress of survival melts away, your brain is finally unleashed for deep, creative work. Think about it. The greatest contributions to society, those innovative businesses, groundbreaking scientific discoveries, timeless works of art, they rarely come from people worried about making rent. They come from minds whose basic needs are met, allowing them to operate at their absolute highest level. Use your hard-won freedom to solve bigger problems, to contribute something truly meaningful. But what about your legacy? Your original North Star was a personal milestone. Now, your legacy metric is a societal one. It's about answering the question, what did my money enable others to do? This is about going beyond your net worth. How do you define it? Maybe it's education? Did you fund a scholarship? Build a library in your hometown? Or support an educational program? Perhaps it's health. Did you contribute significantly to a specific health initiative or a crucial research? Or maybe it's entrepreneurship. Did you provide seed capital for 5 young, innovative companies, helping them take their first critical steps? To make this happen, we introduce the ritual of giving. Just like you automated your invest in that 20% freedom fuel, automate your giving. This powerfully reinforces an abundance mindset and makes impact a non-negotiable part of your financial life. Give with intention, supporting causes that deeply align with your values and your vision for the future. Now, for the final rule, stay bored. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's crucial. The biggest threat to an accomplished architect is boredom, which can often lead to emotional gambling, reckless spending, or chasing unnecessary complexity. The fix: embrace the beautiful monotony of the system you've so carefully built. Boredom in investing! Sticking to your simple index fund strategy and ignoring all the market hype is boring. But that's precisely where the long-term compounding magic truly happens. Boredom in routine. Waking up for your clarity hour, performing your daily rituals, every single day is boring. But that's where discipline compounds into mastery. The real excitement isn't found in constant transactions, but in the creation of value in your business, your art, or your philanthropic efforts, not in the frantic management of your capital. You now have the knowledge, the robust system, and the mindset. The financial script is complete. Your ultimate purpose is now to write the life script that truly leverages this incredible freedom you've built. You've worked hard to master your personal finances, building your own wealth architecture. But what happens when your success grows? When your business scales? Or you start advising others? You transition from managing your money to managing people and capital. Today, we reapplying the core principles you've learned to a much larger context. Building wealth through teams. First, let's talk about the team's North Star. You defined your personal freedom figure, right? That single number that gave you clarity. A successful business needs the exact same thing. A simple, universally understood financial goal. My fix for this is what I call the 3-metric dashboard. Every single person on the team, from the top down, should know the status of these 3 numbers at all times. First, revenue growth rate. Are we actually expanding the pie? Second, profit margin. This is the business equivalent of your 20% investment fuel. Are we operating efficiently? And third, a customer success metric. Are we delivering real, undeniable value? This could be a net promoter score or a customer retention rate. Here, it's the rule. If an activity doesn't positively impact at least one of these 3 metrics, it's a distraction. It's noise. And it has to go. Next, principle 2. Team pay yourself first. You automated your 20% investment for your personal life. The business equivalent is compulsory reinvestment. This is non-negotiable. The fix. The R&D lockbox. A fixed percentage of monthly profits, let us say 15 to 20%, is automatically swept into this lockbox asterisk. Before asterisk anyone gets a bonus, asterisk before asterisk profits are distributed, this capital is untouchable and reserved for only 3 things. 1. Innovation. Funding that next big idea. That second mountain we talked about in episode 8. 2. Talent development, investing in high-value training for your team because your people are your highest ROI asset. And 3. Contingency. This is the business version of your financial firewall, protecting you when things go wrong. This system ensures your business, your largest asset, is always improving, always compounding. Now for principle 3, eliminating team lifestyle creep. Just like individuals, businesses get bloated. As revenue climbs, so do the unnecessary costs. Fancy office spaces you don't need, redundant software subscriptions, and budgets that just keep expanding for no good reason. All of this erodes your profitability. The fix is a zero-based budgeting audit. Once a year, you conduct this audit and you assume nothing. You don't just add 5% to last year's budget. Instead, every single department and every single expense must be justified from a starting point of 0 for every dollar being spent. You must ask one simple question. Does this expense directly increase our revenue, our profit margin, or our customer success metric? If the answer is vague or a maybe, then that expense is a business want, not a need. It needs to be cut or scrutinized heavily. Look at the master of this, Warren Buffett. His genius isn't just in picking stocks. It's in how he operates. Berkshire Hathaway with extreme cost control at the corporate level. The headquarters are famously modest. He doesn't allow the company to suffer from what I call corporate fluff. This ensures that every resource is relentlessly directed toward high-value, high-impact activities that actually move the needle on those 3 key metrics. The rules for scaling wealth are the exact same rules for creating it in the first place. Absolute clarity, unwavering discipline, and a relentless focus on what truly matters. So, here is your action step for this week. I want you to apply the zero-based budgeting mindset to just one area of your life or your business. Find the fluff, cut it without mercy, and maximize the returns on every dollar you have. The principles of the wealth architect are universal. Apply them, and watch not just your wealth, but your impact. Multiply beyond what you thought possible. But what if I told you there's an even more powerful engine that accelerates all 3 of these? Something often overlooked, but absolutely crucial for massive success. That, my friends, is soft leverage. Soft leverage isn't about money in the bank. It's your authority, your trust, and your personal brand. Think of it as the intangible currency that opens doors to partnerships, incredible deals, and opportunities that are simply not available to just anyone. Money might get you in the room, but soft leverage, that gets you the best seat at the table. This episode is all about consciously building that undeniable reputation that attracts true wealth. Let's dive into our first pillar, the authority stack. Authority isn't just handed to you. It's earned through the consistent public demonstration of your competence. You need to strategically position yourself as the go-to expert in your niche. Remember your 1% upgrade skill? This is where it shines. Here's the ritual to build it. The 1 in 3 rule. For every 3 pieces of content you consume, whether it's reading, watching, or learning, you must create and share at least 1 piece of original insight related to your expertise. This could be a quick social media post, a video summary, or even a detailed case study. Why does this work so incredibly well? It forces you to transition from being a passive consumer to an active producer of valuable knowledge. Over time, your shared insights become a documented portfolio of your expertise, allowing opportunities to literally find you. We call this the inbound opportunity flow. It's powerful. Moving on to our second pillar, the trust multiplier. Trust is, hands down, the fastest way to reduce the cost of doing business. When people trust you implicitly, deals close faster, contracts become simpler, and friction just disappears. Trust allows for those non-traditional, incredibly lucrative opportunities, like getting called for an exclusive private deal before it even hits the market. How do you build this deep trust? Through the radical honesty audit. In every single interaction, from a quick email to a major contract negotiation, commit to radical honesty and, critically, always under-promise and over. Aim to deliver 120% of what was expected, even if the fee was based on 100%. This builds a reputation for excellence that travels faster and farther than any marketing campaign ever could. And here's another key. Say no clearly. If a deal or project doesn't align with your values or your North Star, decline it clearly, professionally, and without hesitation. Protecting your time and reputation is far more profitable than chasing every dollar. Finally, let's talk about Pillar 3, network velocity, or the deal flow. Your network isn't just a list of names. It's about the speed and quality of the opportunities that flow through those connections. The fix here is the value-first approach. Stop networking with the mindset of what can I get, and start with what can I give. This small shift makes a huge difference. Here's a practical step. The introduction investment. Every single week, actively introduce 2 people in your network who you genuinely believe could benefit from knowing each other, and do it without asking for anything in return. You become the central hub of value, which dramatically increases your trust multiplier across your entire network. Also, embrace the mentorship loop. Seek high-level mentorship. We covered this in episode 8, but also actively offer mentorship to those who are earlier in their journey. Teaching reinforces your own knowledge and expands your influence in profound ways. Think about someone like Naval Ravikant. He didn't just build his fortune through investing. He built it through immense intellectual authority and trust. His shared wisdom and insights became a magnet for talent and capital, giving him access to the best deals globally. He mastered soft leverage. So, your action step for today, right now, is simple. Implement the 1 in 3 rule. Share one piece of valuable insight related to your 1%. Upgrade skill on a platform where other high performers congregate. Start building that authority. Attract the opportunity. We've talked about risk before, but let's be honest. Most people think managing risk means trying to get rid of it completely. But the true architects of wealth and life do something different. They manage risk by limiting the downside while maximizing the upside. This is what we call asymmetric thinking. Think about it. An asymmetric opportunity is one where your potential loss is tiny compared to your potential gain. This exact mindset is the engine that drives massive venture capital returns and legendary entrepreneurship. It's about finding those rare bets where you can't lose much, but you could win big. So, how do you find these opportunities? You use the asymmetric test. Before you pour your time, money, or energy into anything, ask yourself 2 simple questions. First, what's the limited downside? What is the absolute worst-case scenario? If you lose everything you invest in this project, does it threaten your financial stability or your lifestyle? If the answer is yes, then the risk is too high. You never, ever bet the farm on a speculative idea. Your core stability is sacred. Second, what's the unlimited upside? If this thing works, what's the maximum possible return? Is it just a 2x gain? Or could it be 10x, 50x, or even more? You're not looking for a fair trade where the reward is proportional to the risk. You're looking for leverage, where a small amount of effort or capital can unlock a massive, non-linear reward. And this isn't just for investing your money. Asymmetry is a strategic framework for your entire life. Take your career, let's call it career asymmetry. Investing 100 hours to master a highly specialized, in-demand skill has a very limited downside, just those 100 hours. But the potential upside is enormous. A new career path, a high-margin business, a huge jump in your income. That's a fantastic asymmetric bet. Or think about your time. Let's call it Time asymmetry. Spending 10 hours reading a foundational book on finance or business has a downside of, well, 10 hours. But the upside is unlimited. You might learn a single concept that saves you from $1 million mistake or sparks an idea for a whole new revenue stream. Reading is the ultimate asymmetric use of your time. Even networking can be asymmetric. Making a high-value introduction for someone takes maybe 5 minutes of your time. The downside is 0. But the potential upside in goodwill, future deals, and collaboration is immense. So how do the pros put this into practice? They often use something called the barbell strategy. Imagine a barbell with weights on both ends. On one side, you have 80 to 90% of your capital in ultra-stable assets, things like cash or broad index funds. This is your safety net. It ensures that no matter what happens, you won't be wiped out. On the other side of the barbell, you put the remaining 10 to 20% into high-risk, high-reward ventures. These are your moves. This is where you hunt for those 50x returns. This strategy does something incredible for your psychology. When you know that your core wealth is secure, you can approach those risky bets with a clear head. You're not paralyzed by the fear of losing everything. You can be both calm and aggressive, which is the perfect state for making smart, asymmetric decisions. The writer and former trader Nassim Nicholas Taleb really popularized this idea. He argued that we should structure our lives to be exposed to positive black swans, those rare, unpredictable events with massive positive outcomes while being completely protected from negative black swans, the ones that can ruin you. That's the very soul of asymmetric thinking. So here's your action step for today. Take a look at your top 3 financial or career goals right now. For each one, rate its downside risk on a scale of 1 to 10. Then, rate its upside potential on a scale of 1 to 100 or even higher. Be ruthless. Eliminate any goal that has a high risk but only a proportional upside. Those are suckers' bets. Instead, double down on the ones with the best asymmetry, the ones with a small, manageable downside and a huge, open-ended upside. Start thinking this way, and you'll shift from just avoiding failure to engineering massive success. You'll become the master of the limited loss and the limitless gain. You've done it! You've mastered asymmetric thinking. You've built your fortress, and the numbers on your screen prove it. But what if I told you the single greatest threat to your wealth isn't a market crash, a recession, or inflation? It's success itself. Welcome to the discipline paradox. It is far easier to maintain discipline when you are broke and hungry than when you are wealthy and comfortable. Comfort breeds complacency, and complacency is the silent killer of the investment engine that got you here. This episode is about installing the final, most crucial psychological safeguard: daily prudence. Let's talk about the law of daily maintenance. The moment your net worth hits that first big milestone, whether it's 100,000, a million, or 10 million, the urge to relax the rules becomes almost irresistible. You start rationalizing. I can skip my clarity hour today. I've earned a break. Or, what's the harm in this one? Impulsive luxury purchase. This is the small crack in the dam that leads to a flood. The fix is what I call the zero mistake day. Your success was built on the flawless execution of your blueprint and your daily rituals. We're not aiming for perfection in life. We're aiming for absolute consistency in our system. To achieve this, you must define the 3 core, non-negotiable actions that must happen every single day to maintain your wealth-building system. For example, your 3 could be: first, the financial check. Execute your money manita. Quick review of your net worth, cash flow, and spending. Second, the growth action. Dedicate that non-negotiable block of time to your 5-hour rule or to building your leveraged asset. And third, physical and mental health. Complete your priming routine to ensure you have the peak energy required to manage your growing empire. If you execute just these 3 actions, it's a zero mistake day. Your goal isn't 100%. If you can hit 90% zero mistake days over the course of a year, your wealth trajectory is not just secure, it's locked in. Next, we need to address the humility of the next level. As your wealth scales, so does the complexity of your financial life. We're talking about advanced tax optimization, legal structures, maybe even managing a team. The skills that got you to one level are rarely sufficient to get you to the next. The great danger of success is that it tricks you into thinking you know everything. The solution is to adopt a perpetual student status. Your job shifts from being the operator, the one doing all the work, to being the conductor of an orchestra of experts. Here's how you do it. First, implement a consultation rotation. You must actively budget both time and money to consult with expert stacks, lawyers, estate planners, specialized investment advisors who are already operating at the level you want to reach. Second, live by the I don't know rule. The moment a financial or legal topic arises that feels even slightly over your head, your immediate response should be to hire or consult someone who lives and breathes that subject. Your time is far too valuable to be spent on amateur, legal, or tax work. Look at Jeff Bezos. Even at the peak of Amazon's power, he famously championed a day-one mentality, a mindset of humility, customer obsession, and a constant fear of He refused to let the organization get comfortable, ensuring it remained agile. This is the mindset you must adopt for your own financial life. Finally, let's talk about prudence in communication, or what I call the silent wealth rule. Overt displays of wealth attract unnecessary scrutiny, endless requests for money, and envy. The most powerful wealth architects in the world often operate with quiet, unseen efficiency. The fix is the low-profile protocol. Your wealth is a tool for your freedom, not for public validation. Avoid vanity displays. Lifestyle inflation doesn't just drain your capital. It compromises your freedom and attracts the wrong kind of attention. Focus your resources on assets that buy back your time, like delegation and passive income streams, not liabilities. That just signal status. And practice the selective share. Your specific financial numbers and strategies should only be discussed within your most trusted focus circle and with your team of professional consultants. Protecting your privacy is one of the most effective ways to protect your focus. So, here is your action step for this critical maintenance episode. Sit down today and define your 3 zero-mistake actions. Write them down. For the next 30 days, track your completion rate. Aim for that 90% consistency. This is how you sustain the discipline that created your success in the first place. That is the ultimate act of a true wealth architect. You did everything right. You built the systems, mastered the discipline, and finally achieved a level of financial freedom you once only dreamed of. But now, a new, unexpected enemy has emerged. One that no spreadsheet can solve. Wealth guilt. This feeling, this fear of social judgment, can be as crippling as a market crash, sabotaging your happiness and preventing you from truly enjoying the freedom you've worked so hard for. Let's first tackle what I call the guilt trap. This is that nagging voice in your head telling you that you don't deserve your success, especially when you see others struggling. It is a self-imposed prison that can lead to subconscious self-sabotage, making risky investments or overspending just to even the scales. It's a toxic mindset. The fix? It's what I call the value creation anchor. You must refuse the narrative that wealth is inherently bad. Anchor your success to the value you've created in the world. Repeat this to yourself. My wealth is a direct result of solving a painful problem for my clients. Or, my wealth allows me to create jobs and opportunities for my team. See your money not as a source of shame, but as a powerful tool for contribution. Your success is a net positive for the economy and the people around you. Embrace it. Next up is the judgment barrier. This is the social pressure you face when you succeed. Friends suddenly asking for loans, family members questioning your lifestyle, or online critics claiming you just got lucky. It's exhausting. The solution here is to adopt a selective transparency policy. Remember, you owe no one an explanation for your financial decisions. But you can choose what to share to educate and inspire. If a close friend genuinely asks for advice, share your systems, your blueprints, your riches, but never the specific numbers. Teach them how to fish. Don't just show them your catch. As for the envious, ignore them. People who judge from a place of scarcity are projecting their own narrative onto your reality. Protect your energy and disengage from financial discussions with cynics. The best defense against judgment is visible, genuine impact. Focus your energy on your legacy. People might judge your money, but they can't argue with the good you do with it, whether it's through charity or creating value in your community. Ultimately, overcoming these emotional hurdles is crucial for you to operate at your peak. Guilt and fear cloud your judgment, preventing you from making the bold, rational decisions that got you here in the first place. Your freedom isn't just for you. It's an engine for solving bigger problems, the kind that require both capital and time. So, here's your new ritual. Every single week, review your purpose. Why did you want this freedom to begin with? When your purpose is strong enough, the noise of guilt and judgment fades away. And your final action step for today is this. Define one positive public statement about your wealth. It could be a philanthropic goal, a commitment to mentorship, or a plan for business expansion. Let your actions, not the opinions of others, define your success. Embrace your power. Own your value. All right, you've made it past the initial grind. You've built some real capital. Your investment engine is humming, and things are looking good. Congratulations. Seriously. But now, you're facing a new, trickier problem. Where do you put the asterisk next asterisk dollar? This is the capital allocation challenge, and it's where most people get stuck. Do you double down on your business? Pour it into index funds. Buy another rental property? Or maybe take a swing at that high-risk, high-reward moonshot idea. Get this wrong, and your growth stalls. Get it right, and you unlock the next level of wealth. So, let's break it down. Every dollar you have needs to be put through a test. Think of it as a capital allocation matrix with 4 destinations. Your job is to always choose the one with the highest risk-adjusted return. First up is safety and defense. This is your financial firewall. Is it strong enough for your current lifestyle and debt levels? Think back to our discussion on the debt-to-asset ratio. If you have gaps, here not enough cash reserves, inadequate insurance, this is where your capital goes first. No exceptions. The return here isn't a percentage. It's peace of mind, which is priceless. Second, internal reinvestment. This is your engine boost. Does your main hustle your business or your high-income skill have a clear path to generating a 30% or higher return if you invest more money or time into it? If your business is scaling, reinvesting in it is often the single best use of your capital. The return. Exponential growth in your primary income source. Third is core compounding. This is your steady, reliable base. Are you maxing out your tax-advantaged accounts like your 401k, IRA, or Are you making your regular automated contributions to your index funds? This is the boring, mandatory part of the plan, but it's what builds that powerful, compounding foundation over time. The return is consistent. Market rate growth, often with a tax-deferred bonus. And fourth, asymmetric opportunities. These are your moonshot. Have you found an investment that offers a massive potential upside with a relatively small, defined downside? We talked about the asymmetric test in a previous episode. This is capital reserved for those special, high upside ventures that could deliver 10x or even greater gains. Now, you can't just set this and forget it. You need a system. Every quarter, you must perform an allocation review. Capital cannot be allowed to sit idle. First, audit your internal returns. Look at the last few investments you made in your business. What was the actual ROI? If it's consistently dropping below 20%, it might be time to pull back and redirect that capital into your core compounding your index funds or real estate. Next, fund your best horse. Don't spread your money evenly just for the sake of it. If your business is cranking out 40% returns, it deserves the lion's share of your new capital. If the broader market is in a downturn and stocks are on sale, maybe your index funds should get the priority. You have to be ruthless in starving the options that aren't performing. As you build wealth, it's easy to fall into the complexity trap. Suddenly you have a dozen different accounts, a handful of small, random investments, and it's all just creating mental chaos. This complexity is the enemy of discipline. The solution is the consolidation principle. Simplify. If an investment is taking up hours of your time but only makes up 1% of your net worth, sell it. Sweep those funds into your automated core index fund holdings. Think about Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's legendary partner. He always preached the power of extreme focus, owning just a few great assets and understanding them inside and out. Rather than diversifying into a messy portfolio you can't even manage, simplicity is what allows you to stay the course and avoid burnout. So here, as your action step for today, calculate the estimated return on investment of your primary business or skill over the last year. Is it 10%? 50%? Be honest. That number is your guide. Use it to decide exactly where your next big chunk of capital should go this quarter. Master this skill of allocation, and you'll master the next stage of your wealth journey. You've built your capital, you've mastered allocation, and your systems are running smoothly. But at this level, the biggest threats aren't just market dips or a bad spending month. We're talking about geopolitical risk, the massive waves created by global politics, currency fluctuations, and international conflicts. Today, we're hardening your financial fortress against threats that originate thousands of miles away. Let's start with the purchasing power trap. If all your wealth is tied up in a single currency, say the US dollar, you're completely exposed to that one nation's economic policies and potential instability. Your true goal isn't just to have more dollars. It's to preserve and grow your purchasing power. So, what's the fix? Strategic currency diversification. This means holding a portion of your liquid assets and investments in strong, non-correlated currencies. Think Swiss francs or global indices that aren't dollar-based. In fact, if you've been following along, your core compounding strategy should already include non-US developed and emerging market funds. This provides an automatic, built-in hedge against the US dollar's performance. On top of that, maintain a small but strategic allocation, around 5 to 10%, in hard assets like physical gold or high-quality, globally diversified commodities. Historically, these assets have been a safe haven during times of high geopolitical tension and inflation. Next up, let's discuss jurisdictional agility. If every single one of your assets, businesses, and legal entities is based in one country, you're at the mercy of that country's stability, tax laws, and legal system. A single legislative change could put everything at risk. The solution is to legally and strategically separate your asset location from your place of residence. This isn't about shady tax evasion. It's about smart legal structuring for resilience. How do you do this? Consider using international legal structures, like trusts or foundations, to hold certain long-term assets. This adds a powerful layer of protection from local legal risks and can make cross-border inheritance much simpler. If you run a global business, think strategically about where that business is legally domiciled. Choose a jurisdiction known for strong property rights and a stable, favorable tax environment. The core principle here is simple. You want to eliminate any single point of failure, whether it's a sudden tax hike or political turmoil in one nation. Finally, we need to cultivate a mindset of global observation. You can no longer afford to view the world through a purely local lens. The next great opportunity or the next great threat will almost certainly come from abroad. Make this a ritual. Dedicate a part of your weekly learning time to consuming high-level geopolitical analysis and global economic data. And here's the key. Focus on policy, not politics. Ignore the distracting, emotional noise of political drama and concentrate on concrete policy changes. What are the new trade agreements? What are central banks in the EU, China, or India doing? How are regulatory environments shifting? This is where you'll find the real signals. Look for those asymmetric opportunities where markets are undervalued due to temporary geopolitical fear, but the underlying fundamentals are strong. Think of the legendary investor Jim Rogers, who built his fortune by traveling the world and seeing shifts on the ground before they ever showed up in the financial news. So here is your action step for this week. Audit your investment portfolio. Calculate the percentage of your holdings that are denominated in non-US currencies or are invested in non-US markets. If that number is below 40%, I want you to identify one single action you can take this quarter to increase your currency hedge. It could be as simple as adding a global index fund to your portfolio. This is about building a truly anti-fragile financial life. One that doesn't just survive global shocks, but is positioned to thrive because of them. You've mastered the public markets, stocks, bonds, real estate, ETFSU, get it! You've built your core portfolio. But what separates the truly wealthy from the merely well? It's the move into the illiquid frontier! Today, we're graduating your portfolio to the big leagues. Private equity, specialized venture capital, and complex real assets. These are assets that are difficult to buy and even harder to sell, but that's precisely where their power lies. So, why would anyone want to tie up their money in something they can't easily sell? The answer is the illiquidity premium. This is the extra return you can expect for taking on the risk of not being able to cash out on a whim. Think of it as a reward for your patience. When the public markets are in a freefall, these illiquid assets often march to the beat of their own drum, providing incredible diversification and protecting your overall wealth from market-wide panic. Now, let's be crystal clear about the strategy here. This is not for your emergency fund or the money you need for next year's down payment. We are only talking about capital you absolutely will not need for at least 7 to 10 years. This is your long-term, Do not touch money, completely separate from your core investments and financial safety net. Let's break it down into two main pillars. First up, private equity and venture capital. Instead of waiting for the next big tech company to hit the stock market, advanced investors get in years before the IPO. For most, the smartest way to do this is through a reputable venture capital or private equity fund. This spreads your investment across dozens of promising startups. So if one or two fail, the massive success of another can more than make up for it. Now, if you're a recognized expert in your field, you might get a chance to invest directly into a startup. This is a high-leverage play, no management fees, but it demands an extreme level of due diligence on your part. Pillar 2 is complex real assets. We're moving way beyond buying a duplex down the street. Think institutional-grade properties that generate serious cash flow and act as a hedge against inflation. I'm talking about warehouses and logistics centers that power the e-commerce boom, or data centers that are the backbone of the cloud. These assets often come with long-term leases to stable corporate tenants. Another powerful option is private lending. You're essentially becoming the bank, funding specific business loans or real estate projects. This can provide a steady, high-yield income stream that isn't tied to the daily drama of the stock market. Managing this illiquid portion of your portfolio requires a unique kind of discipline. The beauty is, you can't panic. When markets are crashing, your inability to sell becomes a feature, not a bug. It forces you to stay calm and stick to your long-term vision. However, you must be prepared for capital calls. Private funds don't usually take all your money up front. They'll call for it over several years as they find new investments. This requires careful cash flow planning to ensure you can meet these calls without having to sell other assets at the wrong time. Look at the playbooks of the world as most sophisticated investors. The giant university endowments like Yale and Harvard. They often allocate 50% or more of their massive portfolios to illiquid assets. Why? Because their time horizon is forever. They can afford the patience required to capture that illiquidity premium and benefit from not as the architect of your own wealth. You can adopt this same institutional mindset. So, here's your action step. Start researching one specialized illiquid asset class that interests you, maybe a top-tier private equity fund, an industrial real estate trust, or a private lending platform. Figure out what percentage of your long-term moonshot capital you'd be comfortable allocating to it over the next 5 years. This is how you start building a truly resilient, institutional-grade portfolio. You've built a financial machine, a complex engine designed to navigate the worlds of illiquid assets and global risk. But let's be honest, no single architect, no matter how brilliant, can master every discipline. You can't be an expert in tax law, global macroeconomics, private equity, A&D emergent tech, all at once. The highest level of wealth management, the kind that builds and preserves legacy, requires you to graduate beyond your own expertise. Today, we're taking the network you've built and formalizing it. We recreating your personal board of advisors, a hand-picked group of experts whose collective intelligence is designed to far surpass your own. This isn't about surrounding yourself with friends. It is about building a structured team of paid professionals and strategic mentors who cover your 3 biggest areas of vulnerability. First, you need the tax strategist, your defender. This isn't the person who just files your taxes once a year. This is a proactive advisor, a master of complex business structures, global tax treaties, and the legal strategies that minimize your tax liability. They are the ones who reinforce the fortress walls of your wealth, protecting what you've earned from unnecessary erosion. Think of them as your chief defense officer. Second is the fiduciary wealth manager, your conductor. This is a professional legally bound to act in your best interest. Their job is to orchestrate your entire financial symphony, integrating your public market investments, your illiquid private equity funds, and everything in between. They ensure your overall capital allocation matrix stays balanced and perfectly aligned with your long-term North Star. They see the entire orchestra, not just a single instrument. The third mandatory seat is the strategic mentor. Your visionary. This is someone who's already reached the summit you're climbing towards, whether in your specific business venture or your overarching legacy goals. This relationship is typically not a paid one. You provide value in return for their wisdom. Their role is critical to challenge your assumptions, shatter your biases, and illuminate the blind spots. You can't see yourself. They ask the questions that keep you from becoming complacent. Now, having this board is useless if you don't engage with it effectively. You must treat your meetings with these advisors with the same gravity as a corporate board meeting. Let's call it the board meeting ritual. It starts with preparation. Before any meeting, you send your advisors an updated dashboard, your True Wealth scorecard, and a concise summary of all major changes from new investments to new business lines. Then, during the meeting, you must ask asymmetric questions. Don't waste their time with things you can Google. You're paying for their unique, expensive expertise. Ask things like, given the current geopolitical climate, what is the single biggest unseen risk in my illiquid asset class? Or, if you were starting over in your field today, what one skill would you acquire to maximize the current market leverage? These questions unlock insights, not just information. And finally, you must demand actionable intelligence. Every meeting should conclude with 1 to 3 concrete, measurable action items. This isn't a philosophical discussion club. The output should be clear directives like initiate the process to open a specific type of trust by Q3. Or increase commodity exposure by 2% to hedge against inflation. Many self-made individuals hesitate at the fees for top-tier advice. This is a fundamental error in thinking. You must reframe this cost. The price of excellent advice is always dwarfed by the cost of a single major mistake. One overlooked detail in tax law can wipe out years of compounded returns. One miscalculation in portfolio construction can violate your core risk principles and lead to catastrophic losses. View the fees you pay your board as the most essential form of portfolio insurance you can buy. It's an asymmetric investment to small, known costs to protect you from a massive, unknown downside. It's the ultimate defense for your most complex financial ventures. So, here is your action step for this week. Audit your current professional relationships. Look at these 3 mandatory seats: the defender, the conductor, and the visionary. Identify the single biggest gap in your personal board of advisors right now. Is it tax strategy, wealth integration, or high-level vision? Once you've identified it, take the first concrete step toward finding the right person to fill that seat. Your future self will thank you for it. In episode 22, we built your personal board of directors and learned to navigate traditional markets. But today, we're facing the biggest wave of change yet. Technologies like AI and blockchain aren't just trends. They are rewriting the rules of work, finance, and value itself. This is the ultimate source of both massive risk and unprecedented opportunity. So, how do you future-proof your portfolio and, more importantly, your career? How do you become the architect of disruption, not its victim? Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about AI. The narrative that AI is coming for your job is missing the point. A isn't coming for every job. It's coming for every low-leverage, repetitive task within every job. The key isn't to fear it, but to strategically adopt it to supercharge your most valuable activities. Remember our discussion on high-leverage activities in episode 9? This is where that concept becomes critical. Here's your fix: the 5-hour AI audit. Sometime this month, I want you to dedicate just 5 hours to 2 specific goals. First, automate your low-value tasks. Identify 3 to 5 routine, administrative chores in your life or business. Think content, summarization, tedious data entry, or scheduling your calendar. Find an AI tool to delegate these tasks to free up your time. Second, use that newfound time to boost your unique 1% skill, which we covered back in episode 3. Find one AI tool that directly enhances your most valuable professional talent. If you're a strategic marketer, use an AI for sophisticated customer segmentation. If you're a programmer, use it for faster, more efficient code generation. The objective here is simple: increase your personal output per hour. Make every minute you work exponentially more valuable. Next, let's tackle blockchain and digital assets. These are no longer just the speculative moonshots we discussed in episode 10. They are evolving into a new financial infrastructure. Ignoring them is no longer an option. You need a strategic allocation? The fix? I call it the infrastructure bet. Instead of just gambling on volatile coins, I want you to approach this space with an asymmetric, infrastructure-first mindset. Think of it as a technology hedge. Allocate a small portion of your moonshot fund, maybe 2% to 5%, to foundational assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum. Treat this as a long-term hedge against potential instability in the traditional financial system, just like we discussed with the currency hedge in episode 20. But go deeper. Look, for scalable utility. Investigate companies and platforms building the next layer of the internet, things like decentralized data storage or secure digital identity solutions. The key is to find projects with real user adoption and solid revenue models, not just marketing hype. Finally, we need to address the single biggest risk from technology, the obsolescence threat. This is the danger that a new innovation could make your primary leveraged asset to your business, your career relevant, almost overnight. So, what's the fix? The active obsolescence test. Once every quarter. Sit down and ask yourself one brutal question. If a well-funded startup used the latest AI and blockchain technology, how could they make my entire business model obsolete in the next 18 months? Be honest and ruthless in your answer. Once you identify that weak point, you must immediately allocate resources from your R&D lockbox. From episode 14, to build that disruptive solution yourself before a competitor does. Think about Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster was a giant, but it was unwilling to disrupt its own profitable physical store model. Netflix, on the other hand, was willing to disrupt itself multiple times, from DVDs to streaming to creating original content. You have to be the Netflix of your own financial life. Continuous self-disruption is the ultimate defense. So here is your immediate action step for this week. Identify one. Just one? The value task that you can fully automate using an AI tool by this Sunday. Take that first step to free up your most valuable resource, your time, and reinvest it into building your future. Let's build our futures together. You've built an incredible financial system. It's tough, designed to weather market swings and technological shifts. But what happens when the crisis isn't in the market? What happens when life hits you with something totally unexpected? A sudden health scare, a messy legal battle, or a global shock that just freezes everything? That's what we're talking about today. We'll be adopting the crisis protocol used by top-tier leaders to make sure your financial system doesn't just survive these personal earthquakes, but actually becomes the tool that helps you navigate right through them. Let's dive into phase 1. Freeze and assess. This is the 72-hour rule. When a crisis hits, your first instinct is probably panic. And panic leads to terrible financial decisions, like selling assets at the worst possible time. So, here's the protocol. For the first 72 hours after a major, unexpected event, you implement a financial blackout. You are forbidden from making any big financial moves. No buying, no selling, no committing capital. This is your defense against emotional Instead, your only job is information triage. Focus on gathering only the most critical, verified facts about the crisis itself. What are the immediate costs? What's the likely duration? What is the single biggest risk to your health or safety right now? It's crucial to separate your emotional fear from the factual risk. Don't let your feelings dictate your financial future! Now for phase 2. Deploy the firewall, or what I call the cash bridge. This is where all the defensive work you've done on your financial system proves its immense value. The entire purpose of your financial firewall is to give you the freedom to focus completely on the crisis, without any financial pressure compounding your stress. So, here's the protocol. Activate your cash bridge. You immediately tap into your financial firewall the 6 to 12 months of liquid expenses you set aside. This money isn't for investing. It's for buying you time and peace of mind. Use it to cover any immediate costs and to keep your life stable for the next 3 months. Next, you contact your board. Immediately inform your personal board of advisors or a fiduciary manager and your tax strategist. Your job is to lead yourself through the crisis. Their job is to manage the capital. Delegate all the routine financial maintenance to them, like paying bills or monitoring automated transfers. You are the CEO of this crisis. Let your team handle the operations. Once the immediate danger has passed, we move into phase 3, the strategic rebound. This is where we start, the opportunity scan. A crisis is rarely a purely negative event. It's a powerful revealer of weaknesses, but also of new efficiencies and hidden opportunities. The protocol here is to audit the system. Go back and review your financial blueprint and your portfolio. Which part is held up best under extreme stress? Did your illiquid assets provide the stability you needed? Did your automated income streams keep flowing? Use this real-world data to reinforce any weak points you've uncovered. Then, scan for asymmetry. Crises shake things up and often create unique asymmetric opportunities. Think undervalued assets or new market needs that suddenly appear once you're stable. You can calmly scan the environment for these highly de-risked opportunities that only the disciplined and prepared can see and seize. Look at the most successful leaders during major corporate crises. People like Jamie Dimon at JP. They're known for their extreme calm, their rapid assessment of the facts, and their immediate delegation of tasks. They minimize the emotional noise and maximize the resilience of their systems. You can do the same. So, here's your action step for this critical protocol. I want you to physically write down the phone numbers and the first action step for each of the 3 essential members of your personal board. Store this information in a secure, easily accessible, non-digital place, like a physical binder. This ensures that when stress hits and your mind goes blank, delegation is instant and automatic. This isn't just about protecting your wealth. It's about using your wealth to protect you. By preparing for the unexpected, you ensure you have the strength and clarity to lead when it matters most. You've conquered markets, navigated crises, and built a financial fortress. You've reached the pinnacle of wealth. So, what's left? The final challenge isn't financial, it's philosophical. It's about ensuring every dollar you spend maximizes your life's value, not just your consumption. Today, we're graduating from simple cost-benefit analysis to something far more powerful, the value allocation principle. This is about spending money deliberately to buy peak life experiences and profound meaning. Let's be honest. Vast fortunes are often wasted by confusing cost with value. The amateur saves a few bucks by driving an hour to a cheaper store, ignoring the high cost of their time. The true architect of wealth, however, uses money to buy back their most precious asset, time. They understand that a high monetary cost can lead to maximum life value. So, here's your first action step, the buyback time audit. Right now, think about the top 3 daily or weekly chores that drain your energy and creativity. Is it house cleaning? Grocery shopping? Tedious administrative tasks? Now, calculate the cost of outsourcing them. Next, calculate the value of the time you'd save. What could you do with those extra hours? Could you apply them to your unique skill set, deepen connections with your family, or simply recharge? If the value of that reclaimed time measured in either income or fulfillment exceeds the outsourcing cost, you don't just have an option to delegate. You have an obligation to, once your core financial goals are secure, your spending must shift. You move from accumulating things which depreciate the moment you buy them to accumulating experiences which appreciate in your memory forever. Experiences provide a return on happiness that is completely non-correlated to market swings. It's the ultimate non-correlated asset. This leads to your next fix, the peak experiences budget. I want you to dedicate a specific, generous budget to experiences that meet 2 critical criteria. First, they must be unique and unrepeatable. Use your freedom of time to pursue rare opportunities, extended travel, deep learning retreats, or specialized adventures. Second, they must foster generational connection. Use your resources to create lasting memories with family. Think multi-generational trips, funding a child's passion project, or establishing a family tradition that will last for decades. These investments pay perpetual, emotional dividends. Look at someone like Richard Branson. He built an empire on strategic business risks, but he measures his life's success by the quality of his unique, challenging experiences, hot air balloon journeys, space travel. He uses his wealth to buy access to the very edge of what's possible. Now for the final and most important principle, integrity and legacy. At this level of success, the single greatest threat to everything you've built isn't a market crash. It's a loss of integrity. One unethical decision, driven by financial impatience, can obliterate decades of hard work and trust. So, you need an integrity filter before any high-stakes business deal or major financial commitment. Ask yourself this one simple question. If this decision were made public tomorrow, would I be proud to explain it to my children and my most trusted advisors? If the answer is anything but an unqualified yes, you must walk away, regardless of the potential financial gain. Protecting your reputation is the most profitable long-term investment you will ever make. So here is your final, non-negotiable action step. Define one peak life experience you will execute within the next 12 months. Something that leverages your wealth and your freedom of time. Allocate the capital and block out the time in your calendar right now. Make it happen! But when you reach the highest levels, when you're managing a significant portfolio or looking to acquire whole businesses, the game changes. True, lasting wealth isn't just about spreading risk. It's about deep, fundamental understanding. This is what I call the value doctrine. It's about buying incredible assets at a discount, a timeless principle mastered by the greatest financial minds. Today, we're cutting through the short-term noise and applying these legendary principles to your advanced portfolio. First up, let's talk about the circle of competence. Warren Buffett famously said his greatest defense against bad decisions is knowing what he doesn't know. He only invests in businesses he can thoroughly understand, inside and out. Your fix here is what I call the circle audit. Take a hard look at your skills and experience. Define your circle of competence, the industries, the technologies, the business models where you have a genuine, undeniable, analytical edge. The rule is simple. Any major or liquid asset you buy, any business you acquire, must fall within this circle. Don't get distracted by the hot new thing everyone's talking about. If you don't understand it deeply, you're just gambling. This is your ultimate defense against the fear of missing out. Next, let's talk about the moat. A moat is a company's sustainable competitive advantage. It's the wall that keeps competitors from stealing its profits. For an advanced investor, buying a business or making a private equity investment without a durable moat is just financial recklessness. So, here's your fix. The moat test. Before you commit a single dollar of serious capital, you must identify and quantify the business's moat. Is it a network effect, where the service gets better as more people use it, like a social media platform? Is it high switching costs, when it's a huge pain for customers to leave, like specialized enterprise software? Does it have intangible assets, like bulletproof patents or a brand everyone trusts? Or does it have a massive cost advantage, allowing it to produce things cheaper than anyone else? If you can't clearly define a strong, durable moat, the asset's future is fragile, no matter how good its numbers look today. The third and most crucial principle is the margin of safety. This concept, pioneered by Benjamin Graham, is the absolute foundation of disciplined investing. It means buying an asset only when its market price is significantly below its true calculated intrinsic value. Your fix for this is the intrinsic value calculation. You need to develop the skill, or hire someone with the skill, to estimate what an asset is truly worth based on the cash it will generate in the future. And here's the golden rule: never pay full price. Only deploy your core capital when the market offers you a DLA, at least a 25% discount to your calculated intrinsic value. This margin is your buffer. It's your protection against your own mistakes, against unexpected market chaos, and against emotional panic. It ensures that every investment you make is fundamentally stacked in your favor. Think of Charlie Munger, who often spoke about the incredible advantage of just sitting still and waiting for the perfect opportunity. Fat pitch, as he called it. Value investing isn't about constant action. It's about extreme patience, followed by decisive, aggressive action when the right deal finally appears, one with a wide moat and a massive margin of safety. So here, as your action step 4 this week, look at your primary business or leveraged asset. Define its moat. What is its single most defensible competitive advantage? And more importantly, what is the single biggest threat to that moat over the next 5 years? Understanding this is the key to protecting and growing your wealth for the long term. Thanks for tuning in. If you found value in this, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into building lasting wealth. See you in the next one.